How about that Knicks game last night?
That was a great series. That was a great series, and the Knicks. This is the best Knicks team, best Knicks season. When was the last time you were into the Knicks like this, Brett? Brett, you told me you were worried about a Game 7 last night.
Yeah.
You haven't been into the Knicks like that.
No. I'm talking like having not a dollar on the game. Nothing. Not at all. And let me tell you, when they were up big, I was like, this is great. They're going to breathe. Finally, they're going to have a blowout victory. I knew it was going to get tighter than that, but I really believed that they weren't going to let them get close. And let me tell you, that fall apart in the second quarter, all I thought was, this team's are they really just going to fold right here? And are we going to go to a Game 7, have to come back to the Garden, which is, great. We all want to see in Game 7 the Garden. I don't know if I can take it.
I think Embiid was shot, kind of tired down the thing. They gave their push in the second quarter. The problem is they had to exude so much energy in that second quarter just to get back into the game, to make it a game at halftime. They took the lead at halftime. Their bench came up big. They were outscored the Knicks the Sixers bench outscored the Knicks bench 30-0 in the first half. And then the Knicks, they came down, and you got Josh Hart, who left them wide open, let him take the shot from the top of the key, made the shot. Brunson made some free throws down the stretch. And the Knicks get out of there with a win. Maxey was disappointing last night for the Sixers. If you're the Sixers, you got to be disappointed. How do you put up the game that he put up in Game 5 and then come back and have, 12 points?
I know. And honestly, the Sixers, if you look at who stepped up for them after, and it wasn't Embiid after, it was Buddy Hield. Then you look at Nicholas Batum. Batum stepped up too. And, those guys made it where Philly should have taken control after that second quarter. It looked like the Knicks had no idea what they were doing on offense. They could not stop anybody on defense for anything. Similar to what the Sixers couldn't do in the first quarter.
Yeah.
But to go out and you realize the depth and the legs that the Knicks have behind them, which other teams may not, and just like Embiid towards the end, which made a big deal on that final play of Embiid fouling out. Right prior to the final play. Yes. Typically, that would have been the Maxey run-up. You saw he was in the back court, and he would have typically gotten that on the run-up with an Embiid screen.
Yeah, but I think they should have got a better shot.
No.
The Knicks trapped him in the back court.
I know when they give the ball over to Buddy Hield, but they didn't even... you can look. He never even looked over at Maxey. It almost was like he was a decoy, where it should have went to Hield and then back to Maxey, and Hield just turns around and wings it up with 3 seconds left.
Yeah, it was not a good shot. But
let me tell you,
obviously, they should have got a better shot, right? You got to run a play where you can set a screen and get Maxey going.
Yeah, but guess what? How often do you have a play set up in that situation where Embiid's not part of it? How many plays do you think they run in a practice where Embiid isn't involved?
They ran him all year. Embiid didn't play all year.
I hear what you're saying, but in crunch time, there's no way your superstar's not having the ball in his hands at the end of that moment, and they didn't give it to him. They gave it to a guy who didn't even know how many seconds were on the clock and heaved it up.
Brunson, 41 points. He is the first player since Jordan to have 39 or more points in 4 straight playoff games. And listen, he didn't even have a great series, right? He didn't in the first 2 or 3 games. He was invisible.
He couldn't find his shot. He couldn't get to his spots and make those little floaters that he always makes.
He had the key turnover in Game 5. I think. Listen, I think the Knicks are primed.
He wasn't making free throws either. Let me tell you, the Knicks almost cost themselves the series at the free throw line.
Both teams with the free throws were atrocious.
Well, no. Honestly, the Sixers made most of theirs. Embiid made, I think, all of them. Guy just doesn't miss.
Yeah, he's
Maxey pretty much made all of his free throws. And let me look. The Knicks were what? 2 out of 3 at most, if not 1 out of 2 for almost the entire series.
Yeah, the Knicks weren't good. And listen, I think this is a tougher series. It's good that they got the Sixers because it sucks because it's a tough series and you got to go 6 games. But it got them playoff ready to go into this next round where they have the upper hand. I think they are better than Indiana.
Yep.
I think they caught a break with Indiana. They would have been. It's a better matchup than Milwaukee would have been for them. The Knicks, because Milwaukee will run up and down the court.
Indiana, and God forbid they get those guys back. If you all of a sudden get a Giannis back on the court, Giannis is back on the court, Middleton's back on the court, and you look over and Lillard's back on the court, they're a much different team than Indiana just played.
Yeah, the Knicks could beat Indiana. I think the Knicks will beat Indiana. They are plus minus 265, so they're almost a 3-1 favorite.
Yeah,
to win the series.
That doesn't make me feel any better about it. You have to go. I know. But being a favorite in these series honestly, if you were going to put your money on it, who would you put your money on, and not who you think is going to win or lose? Those odds are just. I don't like being the favorite by that much. The Knicks. I hear you, but I just don't think. I think it's going to be a little bit tighter than that.
So now, do the Knicks have to win this series for it to be, oh, this was a great Knicks year, or does this right here,
yeah.
does the 6-game series what they just had make it? It's a good year.
No.
I disagree with you. I think it's a good year.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's not like they would not have accomplished their goal. That their goal was not to win a first round series. If you ask every person on the Knicks, if they lose this series, this season, it ends as a disappointment, especially for how good they turned out to be.
What
That's
if they
the
lose
problem.
in 7 games?
No, there is
no game at home.
There is no outcome that does not include them going to the Eastern Conference Finals and showing that they have arrived. You will turn yourselves into a possibility of becoming what Embiid has just become, which is a first or second round and out no matter what.
Yeah, Embiid's a lunatic. Embiid he does stupid stuff every game. He's constantly complaining. I mean, people talk about LeBron complaining, and LeBron complains.
They all complain
Embiid
now.
Every single foul.
Everything.
He smacks the guys in the face. He hits them in the nuts, and he's complaining. There's cameras around here. People watch these games. They can stop and review and watch it. You can't get away with anything. It's like robbing stuff these days. Or committing crimes. You can't commit crimes because there's cameras.
But that's the thing is, he does still get away with it once in a while. He doesn't get away with it that we don't see it.
You think?
But when the actual fouls on certain plays, let me tell you, there's certain times where there was fouls last night where he wasn't fouled, and they were giving them the and ones, and it's just he's a former MVP, and they're always going to get more calls than certain other guys.
Perfect example. Here's the one where they had to review it. Hartenstein ended up with a bloody nose, right? Yes. It went off. It looked like, first look, it looked like the ball just hit him in the nose. And Embiid said, I got all ball. Yep. Now you slow it down and you look at it. He hit it and he followed through and he smacked him in the face.
Yeah.
Like, he knows he's smacked him in the face.
There's no reason to, like, pretend like it didn't happen or be mad about it after.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to lie.
Yeah.
But, like, to be like, I can't believe it. Look, like, he literally was looking at the screen.
And they
like,
hit him in the face.
Like, what do you, like, look, guys, I didn't do it. And they're like, wait a minute. That's a sociopath. Was
it goaltending on Hartenstein? It was bang, bang, right?
It's the equivalent of Alonzo touching
I was just
going
to say it's the Alonzo play. It's the same thing.
It's the exact same thing. There is the call on the field. Which wasn't a goaltender.
I think they got the Alonzo play right, by the way.
Yeah, and the NBA was trying to do anything they can, as always, even if the officials can pretend like they don't, to keep these games decent if they have the option. And that was look, it's going to be a tighter game if But
they always end up to be good games. Like
most
of the time. Like, there are times in most NBA games where there's a 15-point lead, a 20.
Yeah.
It's basically like if you played a baseball game and every third inning it was 6-2 or 6-1, and then it would end up a one-run game.
And you know why? Because towards the end, when you have that 10-point lead, just like you've seen the Knicks do multiple times in this series, you start to play different basketball. You start to be more passive. Instead of going for the perfect opportunity, you take the opportunity that's at the end of the shot clock. You don't take the one at 15 seconds because you want to use every second. But at the last second, they know you're about to shoot, so they guard you even tighter. So it makes it that much harder. You have to keep that aggression. You don't let up on the aggression when you go ahead. When the Knicks were up 22, they started being passive for the last few minutes of that first quarter.
That's just human, though. That's a little human.
No, it is, because you get tight and you go, oh, but look, if we hold on to this lead with 8 points up with a minute and a half left, look, we just have to hold the ball long enough. There's only so many possessions. They weren't wrong. But the one thing I liked about this Knicks game is they learned from their mistakes from the game prior. When it came down to, we're up by 3, and we have to, and they get the inbound, and Maxey has it. What do? We're not going to let him shoot a 3. We're going to foul him right away and come to the line.
They fouled. They did foul.
And he made his 2 free throws.
But here's the defense.
And then we got to inbound, and we made our free throws.
The Knicks might have been trying to foul in Game 5, too. Nobody expected him to pull up with 8 seconds left from just the plus side of half court.
No.
And then take the shot right away.
But you learn.
Right?
But you learn and you don't make that mistake again.
I hate that. I hate that fouling when you're up 3. I almost feel like it's cheating.
Yeah, I hate losing. I hate losing crazy games that change the entire face of your franchise, where if you lose that game and then somehow we lose this game, do you know what that means? And we lose this series?
Does Thibodeau get fired if they lose this series? No, I don't think so.
No way. Because you're gonna try and find a replacement that's gonna do better. You're gonna find someone who's does the equivalent of the job.
That's what the Mets did though with Showalter.
Yeah, but that was a new regime. That's a different thing. That's a whole new. That's almost like a whole new. I don't want to say ownership group, but it really was. As much as Steve Cohen was involved, that was a new man taking over a franchise, saying, "Pardon, to put his mark on it."
And this is the first. Now we finally have a group of Knicks that is like a memorable group, because like we were listening to before. nobody talks about the Carmelo teams. The Carmelo teams are they're not memorable. They won one playoff series, I think, right?
Right.
He did nothing. He was a great player, but the team sucked.
Well, we were just excited to have someone to watch every night that might drop 40 or 50.
Yeah.
That was different. We didn't have even that for so long.
No.
And so we were like, okay, at least we have the one piece that if the right guys fell around it, we could probably make a run. And that's all we had then. Now we have a legitimate team that people like. Not only are they good, they're liked. And I'm not just talking in New York. They are like the underdog type of stories that people weren't like, oh, we didn't go out and get
the underdogs,
these. Yeah. We didn't go out and get these like we got this group that has proven in the past, this core group, to have played well together in the past and win championships. Yes, at Villanova, but to watch last night in Philadelphia in Game 6, where Brunson makes his clutch three, and you know what he does? He looks up after, and he looks up at his Villanova banners in the rafters.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that, but you're right.
And he does it, and they show him, and he looks up, and he points at me, he's like, and I was just like, oh, dude, these guys know how to play.
Well, listen, there's two buildings that Villanova guys feel good in, but it's the Garden, and it's the
every
Spectrum
NBA
or whatever it is over there.
Every NBA player on a home court, on any random court versus any random guy is the best player. Nobody will ever stop you. Not everybody is great when it matters. Not everybody is great when it comes down. Let me tell you, if you have a bad game the whole game, but all of a sudden that fourth quarter, you're Jalen Brunson, and you start stepping up, and when it's clutch time, when you're Josh Hart, and it's time to make that three, you either have ice in your veins or you don't. You've either been there before and have proven that you're in the hard times, or you're a guy who folds. A lot of other guys get to the playoffs, and we've seen this in the past. They just fold. They don't produce. They're some of the greatest players in the history of sports. Did not produce when they made it to the postseason.
Now, they got to be better. Okay, listen, DiVincenzo was not good in the series, besides the game two. And even in the game
he
two,
looked
it took
shook
him twice
when he got to the free throw line and made the free throws. He looked shook.
Yeah. Hartenstein was great this series with the offensive rebounds and just the gutting it out, playing Embiid.
I think
he was good.
I think going versus Embiid and finally you see how hesitant he was to take those little floaters early in the series.
He's hitting those inside the paint. He's hitting the 10-foot jump
He
shots.
wouldn't take them. He kept passing it out. Now finally someone got in his head and said, "We're not making the other shots. Make him or miss him. Even if you miss every other one." Let me tell you, those little floaters, they were giving them to him, and he finally started putting them in. They looked awkward. It looked like the worst shot you could ever take.
It's like a 10-foot shot.
It's not really his game that much. And all of a sudden, he started stepping up. It was, let me tell you, that was the most important thing. Those little dinks and dunks he was making in the third quarter that kept him in that game were huge.
And now the Knicks, they're shorthanded. They got injuries on the team. They're playing with like 7 guys. Because there's guys.
And some of those guys are hurt too. When you look at Mitchell Robinson's on the edge, he's been out for games, but his defense was unbelievable versus Embiid.
Bogdanovich
out. See you later. And that's a big loss when you go, oh, guess what? Everybody else is ice cold. Let me tell you, bring in Bogdanovich and throw it in the corner. See what happens.
Yeah,
he's not going to go cold for that long. And when he goes hot, that guy can give you a whole run while Brunson's on the bench. You watch yesterday, the Knicks went up and they were up like 15, 18 points going into the second quarter, and they sat Brunson for the first 2 minutes. And they were down with only a 5-point lead by the time he got back in that game.
And I didn't think that this before this series, I think the Knicks have an outside chance at the NBA Finals.
Okay.
And I think they get swept if they go there.
How much of that do you factor in that because of Porzingis getting hurt and if he doesn't play?
No. I think the Celtics look somewhat beatable, right? Didn't the Celtics are better than the Knicks? I know that. I get it.
They had one bad game.
Somewhat beatable.
They had one bad game. But let me tell you, other than that, that series wasn't even anything to watch either. So you don't even know what that is.
Now, would you rather see the Knicks go and get swept in the finals by Denver?
Yes.
Or would you rather see a 7-game series with the Celtics in Denver? Because that would be a good series.
There's no answering that question. The Knicks making it to any finals, any amount of games, I don't care if they get blown out in every game, will show that they belong. Let me tell you.
I feel like I never knew you as a Knicks fan. I'd say Mets and Jets.
Yeah,
Mets and Jets.
No, I guess so. But it's funny because because there's definitely was a very large lapse in the boring years. I would always watch, but you can't get excited.
Now I come over today and you're like, I was nervous for game 7. I didn't know what I was talking about.
Well, and this started last year in the playoffs, and we were talking about it. But even more so, I watched so much more Knicks this year than I've ever watched.
Is that because of gambling, or is that because of the show?
It's something that I've always it's something. No,
You like
I
basketball.
didn't gamble really at all on the Knicks this
Okay.
year. I don't think I placed a bet on the Knicks this year.
You definitely placed a bet on the Knicks this
I
year.
did. I know. I definitely did. Not much. I haven't gambled much at all. I definitely haven't won much at all. But no, I looked back and I forgot how much of a Knicks fan I was as a kid. I watched every single Knicks game like we all did. And was so like, when I look back to how crazy and how angry I was when the OJ chase came on and I couldn't listen to the Knicks game. It's in a double box, but I can't hear what's happening in one of the most amazing series. Prior to this series, that's probably the most memorable Knicks series. Is that Knicks?
Which one? The Heat?
Yeah, the Knicks Heat series.
Yeah. Well, there was a couple Knicks Heat series.
No, but there was it just in general, and then watching the Knicks go up against Olajuwon and watch Ewing clank point blank the Hartenstein shots, but blanking them off the rim to go in when you watch basketball, so crazy because that one bounce of the ball is the difference of your team being iconic. Or being like, it really is so crazy.
That Knicks team is at every game this year. Starks is in there. Starks is there watching.
They're like the proud uncles. They're like the uncles, and which is great. And it's all, it's so nice to see. But I'm done. Like, those are all like, they weren't that good. It's like talking about the Mets and being like, yeah, but remember how like close we came, and remember when we won that one playoff game?
Yeah.
I want long, sustainable wins. I don't know. It doesn't mean we're going to win the championship this year, but it means that you can tell me that I think the Knicks might win an NBA championship in the next 5 years.
Yeah. Yes. Has
there ever been a day in your life where you believe that?
Yeah. When I was like in
when you were freaking 7 years old.
Yeah.
12 years old.
So what do you got? You got the game one, Monday, 7:30, Madison Square Garden. It's $5. Were you talking $500 getting price, Brett? Are you going to any games?
I'd love to go.
You would love to go. I've never been to an NBA. Oh no, I've never been to an NBA playoff game.
No NBA playoff games.
I think we're priced out of it. I think we're priced out of Knicks and Rangers. I think. Yeah. I mean, we could do it, but it's like
I don't know. Not to go sit in the
$500.
Not to go sit in the back corner. If you told me I was like, give me somewhere like $250 in the back, maybe.
Celebrity row?
No. Give me anything mid-court, upper level.
Yeah. No, they're good seats. Like if you get the 300s somewhere on the sideline.
Yeah, I just I don't think I'm gonna go out of my way to do it. I actually considered it. I would have loved to went down to Philly for that first game down in Philly.
That's what you got to do.
Those were cheap.
What about Boston?
Well, you're not getting into Boston.
Yeah, I bet it's a lot lower. I bet if you look right now, I
don't think so.
The Boston's series,
crazy.
right now, the Boston tickets are a lot lower than. Well, I know they're crazy.
Well, yeah. Well, did you look?
It's not Midtown Manhattan. It's different. There's more money in Manhattan.
You're right, and I think it's going to be comparable. The thing is just I don't know.
It's comparable because you got to add a hotel. You got to add
all of
stuff.
It. No, definitely. I'd rather go in for the Knicks game and just pay. You know what it is?
The train.
All I kept thinking was because I really wanted to go to that the last Knicks home game, not Game 6.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not Game 5.
Game 5.
But
game 2.
It was game
2.
Game 1 or 2. I can't remember which one where I was like. No.
Did you get to the point where you looked
it was
on
Game
StubHub?
5. No, I kept thinking if we went to Game 5, imagine paying $500, right, to go to Game 5 and walking out of there.
Yeah, but that's what happens.
That's what we've done. We've done that Game 5. Come on, remind you of any other Game 5s?
I've done it.
Yeah, Mets, Matt Harvey, Game 5, walking out of there after paying.
We only paid $2 something.
Yeah, barely. Yeah.
Like that. That's World Series.
No, but I had a different feeling when I left because I was offered $3,000 for the tickets.
No. You're talking not for the
World Series.
For World Series. Oh, they offered you $3,000.
$3,000 for the 2 tickets.
Okay, so you lost money.
So I walked out of there going, and I was worth $3,000 for the win.
Yes.
But if I knew that they were going to lose that game, in the way that they did, I'm not saying I wouldn't have went.
But if you know they're going to lose,
I would have rather had the $3,000.
Here's what you do: if you know they're going to lose, you go to the game anyway, and you put $20,000 on the Royals.
That's you should hedge. You should definitely hedge.
All right, so that's what's going on with
Getting
the Knicks.
ready.
Monday. Wait, what do you got? So you got Knicks and
who do
Knicks
I got? Who do I got?
Knicks and what?
You know, it's tough.
Knicks and 6. I'm going Knicks and 6 again.
That's probably about right. But you know what? I think this Knicks team went through such a tough test that I think it's going to be an easier matchup for them. Yeah. Knicks and 5.
What's the score of the series going into Game 4?
what's the score of
like,
the
do
series?
the Knicks take care of business at home and then steal game 3 and it's 3-0?
Oh.
Or is it 2-1?
Yeah, no. I think it's 3-0. They lose a game, and then they win game 5.
Okay. All right. Hey, listen, I'll take it. And then
Yeah.
if we can get it.
And there's going to be one or two games where the Knicks win by 10, and it's going to be like where they don't have to just stress every game, because that's not. Let me tell you, it's nice to you need to be tested. I think one of the best things that happened to the Knicks was losing that game 5. I know it sounds awful, but losing that game 5, I really believe will give them that, like.
Because this was a 6-game series anyway. It took a circuitous route to get to 6,
Yes.
but it was a more even series than a 5-game series.
You need to have that, like, go through those hard times in the playoffs and prove to yourself that you can then fight back and in somebody else's building and do it.
Yes.
Whereas if you just won the home games and you were like, oh, and we got lucky in the other games, people will be like, oh, let's see how that goes. But, I think they learned from their mistakes, like I said, and I really believe that hardship will benefit them going down.
Do you play cornhole? Of course you do. Everyone does. Think you're good? Think you're good enough to take down Brett and myself? Well, here's your chance to find out. Join us on May 19th at 12 p.m. at the Great South Bay Brewery in Bayshore for a cornhole tournament benefiting the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Entry is only $100 per team, and all the proceeds go to a great cause. So if you think you have what it takes to win the tournament, head on over to lockedupsports.net and scan the QR code at the bottom of the homepage to get registered. Blood cancers are real and are affecting families as we speak, and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, with our help, can save lives. See you at the tournament.
This is Sean Morris from Evan and Tiki. You're listening to Locked Up Sports.